Hello guys, my name is Remik, and in today's video we'll talk about stored procedures, how to use stored procedures in Entity Framework Core, how to create them in the code first approach, and also what are in fact the stored procedures. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then please hit the subscribe button down below, write the comment, give me a like, and as always, now we're going straight into the topic. Before we'll talk about the stored procedures, we have to take a look very quickly what we actually have in our database and also what application we have as the initial state. So as you see, I have created the database and also the relationship between the author and also the book. So as you see, the first execution, the first select statement returns for us the first name, last name, and the country of the author. And here on the bottom, we see that we have the ID, name, category, and author ID. So here we have the results of the books. And also we have the foreign key for the author entity. And we have the minimal API that does everything in the code. So it's not using the stored procedures yet, but everything is done here in the code with the usage of the link statements. As we see, we are creating the book, we are updating the book, and we are also getting all the books and also getting the books by the category and the author ID. And we have also the book stored procedure module that is blank for now, and will create here the execution of the stored procedures that we'll create just in a while, and also we'll just create those procedures in the migration. So everything will be done in the code first approach. And now in Swagger, we'll just take a look on those 4 working for now endpoints. So we can create a book. So we'll just provide the name, category, and author ID. So the name will be test text book. The category will be drama, and the author ID will be 1. And I will just execute. Have the 200 OK response, and I will just get all the books from the database. And as you see, the last one, we have the ID 21, and this is the test book with the category drama, and also author ID was assigned to the first one. So I will just update this book. So I will just take the book ID as 21. The name will be updated book. Category can just remain the same. So drama, and author ID was the first one. So I'll just execute. Also, we have 200 OK response. And now we can just go and use this last endpoint for just to get books by category and the author ID. I'll just try it out. The category was drama, as we were using for now, and also the author ID will be the first one. And we'll see execute. As you see, here we have only one book because the author with the ID of 1 has only one book related to the category called drama. Alright, so what are the stored procedures and why we would like to use them instead of the link statements? So basically the stored procedure is the SQL statement that is stored in the database and could be reused by many different applications and is a little bit faster than the link code. So basically this statement is not that very advanced, not very complex. So just only for the purpose of that video, we are creating the stored procedures for all of those. But basically, if you have some very complex SQL statement that it will be not so very good readable, or even it will be not possible to create in link, this is actually the good reason to create the stored procedures. Stored procedures will be stored in the programmability and stored procedures folder. For now, we don't have any stored procedure, but we'll create just in a moment one very simple stored procedure to retrieve the list of all the books, and then we'll write the same create procedure statement in our migration. So it will be applied as the code first migration. Alright, so we'll create the procedure with this following rule. So we'll just create the procedure with the name. So we'll just use the dbo get books. Then we are using the as. Then between begin and the end, we are setting the no count to on. So not to generate that kind of the messages, and also how many rows were affected and so on and so forth in the production environment. So we'll just set this no count to on before the SQL statement. Then we have the select everything from the books, and we have the end. So when we'll create and execute this kind of code, we see that in the programmability folder and in the stored procedures, we have this dbo get books, and we can just comment out this code. This one will also delete, and we'll just execute this get books. As you see, this get books stored procedure was actually properly executed, and we have the IDs, name, category, author ID. So everything is completely the same as we'll have the select everything from the books. As you see, I have deleted the stored procedure from this stored procedures folder, and now we'll just copy that statement and we'll put this in our entity framework migration. So I'll just go to our project and we'll just create at first the blank migration, and then we'll apply the SQL code to this migration, and also we'll use the drop statement just to drop this stored procedure if it will be reverted. So I'll just type .NET EF migrations add, and it will be added get books, let's say, and we'll just use s flag just to specify where our API is stored. So it will be stored procedure .api, and then also with the p flag it will be the same, so stored procedures but with the infrastructure, so where our DB context is located. And I'll execute this just to add the blank migration. Alright, and we see we have the blank migration called added get books. I'll just open this up. Alright, as you see, we have the up and also we have the down. So in the up method, we'll create the procedure, and the down method will drop that procedure. So I'll just type var create procedure, and I'll just paste what we have created. So it will be create procedure, get books as begin, set no count to on, and then select everything from the books. So we have the whole procedure, and then the only thing to do, we have to use migration builder, then we'll use the SQL method and we'll pass this create procedure. And in the down method, we have to drop that procedure, so it will be var drop statement, and it will be drop procedure, and that is called dbo get books. And in the migration builder also we'll use this SQL but the drop statement. And now we'll apply this migration to our database. So we'll use .NET EF database update, and the same where our API is located, so stored procedures .api, and then p flag where is DB context located, and stored procedures .infrastructure. As you see, the migration has been applied to our EF migrations history. And also, as you see, the statement was executed. So create procedure, get books, begin set no count on, and select everything from the books. So we can just go to our SQL Server Management Studio and we'll just refresh now the stored procedures. As you see, we have the get book, so it was created automatically, and we can just execute. So we can get rid of this and we'll just execute get books. Once again, as you see, everything works fine. Now we'll go to our endpoint and we'll use this instead of the code that we were using with the link. So in the book stored procedure module, I'll just close this terminal and now we'll type var books will be equal to the await db context dot books dot from SQL row, because we have no parameters at all, and inside of it we'll just use exec get books, and we'll use the toList async method, and we'll just return the books. And now we'll just debug, we'll just run our API, and we'll see if the stored procedure get books works as expected. Alright, now we'll execute this endpoint, so stored procedure get books, and as you see, we have the response the same as we'll use the link code. Now we'll create the next procedure just to get books by category and author ID. We have to define two parameters, so the category as the envarchar and also the author ID, and everything will be the same as with the normal select everything from the books, but also we will add the where clause where the category will be the same as the category and the author ID will be the same as the author ID. I'll just remove those uppercase letters, and we'll also write set no count on, and we'll just copy everything that we have here, and the same the new migration, and in this migration builder we'll use the SQL method, and we'll just type for SQL. We'll just copy that, and now we'll just use this SQL, and also we'll type var SQL will be equal to the drop procedure get books by category and author ID, and then migration builder SQL, and we'll use this SQL statement. And now we'll use this dotnet database update, the same as before. As you see, the procedure has been created with the parameters. Now we'll go to the Explorer and to our book stored procedure module. And now we'll type var books, so the same as it is above, but we'll change the invocation of the method after the books. We'll just use the db context dot books, and not of the from SQL row, but from SQL interpolated because we would like to prevent from the SQL injection. We are only passing the parameters into our execution of the stored procedure, so not the whole SQL statement, but we'll only accept the specific parameters. We'll just execute it. We'll use the $sign in front. It was exec get books by category and author ID, and we'll just type category is equal to the category, and after the comma it will be author ID is equal to the author ID, and then to list async. And now we have to return those books. So we'll just go to our Swagger, and now we'll see if we have the desired result. So the stored procedure get books by category and author ID. Category will be drama and author ID 1, and we'll execute this, and we'll see what will be the output of that. As you see, we have only this updated book with the category of drama. And now we'll create the create book stored procedure. So we have to pass 3 parameters, the same as we have here in this books table. So we have to define the name, category, and also author ID, and then we are inserting into the books table with that kind of columns those values that we passed to the stored procedure. So I'll just copy this procedure, we'll go and we'll paste it here. So the same, the another migration for the create book, and we have to paste it here. And once we have everything pasted, now also we have defined the drop procedure create book, the same as before. And now we'll update the database. And as you see, the create book store procedure has been created. So now we can go back to our book stored procedure module, and we can use this create book stored procedure to create the book. So I'll just remove that, and now we'll use await db context dot database dot execute SQL interpolated async method, and in here we have to pass exec, so the same as before. Execute create book, and as the parameters we'll pass, the first one was the name, so name will be equal to the create book request dot name, comma, and now the rest of the parameters. So it was category, it will be equal to the create book request dot category, and also the last one will be author ID, and it will be equal to the create book request dot author ID, and we'll return results dot OK. All right, and now to create the book, we'll use this stored procedure. We have to try it out, and as the 3 parameters will pass the data, so it will be stored procedure book, category will be drama, and the author ID will be 1. We'll execute this, and as you see, we have the 200 OK response, and we'll execute the stored procedure get books just to get the list of all the books, and we'll check if it was actually created with the usage of that stored procedure. We'll just go down and down, and as you see here in database, we have the book with the ID 22, stored procedure book, so the same as we have defined in our create endpoint. So now we'll go back and we'll create also the last stored procedure. So the stored procedure for updating of the book. And now the last create procedure statement. So we have to update the book. We have to pass the name, category, and the author ID as the parameters. And also, just for the where statement, we have to define the book ID that we are actually updating. So we are passing those 4 params, and we are updating name, category, and author ID, where the book's ID is equal to this book ID parameter. So I'll just copy the last stored procedure, and again we'll just paste it in the migration statement, and we'll have to execute and then use this update book stored procedure in our endpoint. So I'll just update our database to apply the migration. As you see, the procedure has been created. So we'll just go back to our stored procedural module, and we'll use the same method, so execute SQL interpolated async, just as the reminder to prevent the SQL injection, because we are passing here the parameters, not the whole SQL statements. And I will just copy this line and we'll just modify it accordingly. So we have the update book request. We don't have the create book request, so we have to override that variable. And at first it was the update book, so update book, and the first param was the book ID, which is equal to the update book request dot book ID, then the comma, update book, author ID. Everything seems to be fine. So just run our API and we'll try to update the book. Alright, so now we'll retrieve all the books and then we'll decide which one we would like to update. I'll just execute the first getBooks endpoint, and now we can just take this one with the ID 22. So it was stored pros book, so we'll just modify the content of that book. So the book ID was 22, the name will be updated with stored procedure, category can be the same, drama, and the author ID was the first one. I'll just execute it. We have the 200 OK response, and we'll execute this endpoint once again. And as you see, we have the updated with stored procedure, so it was executed properly, and also all of our stored procedures are working fine. And now at the end, we'll just check if we have all the stored procedures in our stored procedures folder. Yes, we have create book, get books by category, and author ID, and also the update book. Now we'll just delete our database completely, and then we'll execute the update database statement, and it should perform all the migrations starting from the initial one up to the end of our migration, so up to the update book. So once we'll create the database, automatically it should add to our database those 4 stored procedures. As you see, when I have deleted the database and now I have created it once again with the usage of the database update statement, as you see, it was created, so create database. Then as you see, the tables have been created, of course, and later on what is very interesting for us, we are applying the migration added get books, and as you see, the create procedure get books has been executed. So we have the first one, then we have the next stored procedure. Later on, we had also the create book stored procedure, and the last one, update book stored procedure. So when we will go to the SSMS, we'll just refresh. As you see, the library DB appeared, and we'll just go to the programmability, stored procedures. And as you see, we have 4 of those stored procedures. So all of those have been added automatically when we are creating the database by performing those 5 migrations.